Hello viewers, it's glad to know you're watching your program. It is Economic Insights and I'm your host Paul Kingsley. Now, in continuation with the ongoing report we are doing on infrastructure development in Nigeria, today we are taking a topical look at the various challenges affecting the development of our infrastructure. Joining us to discuss this is the man who has contributed in no small way to the development of our infrastructure. I'm talking of the managing partner of Artec Practice Limited. He is architect Taufik Popola. He's going to be giving us their own take, their contribution to the infrastructure in Nigeria today. Sit back, it promised to be an interesting conversation. I'll be back after this time out.
Practice Limited has distinguished itself to become one of the leading indigenous integrated architectural firms, providing qualitative, timely and effective services in design, building and project consultancy. Architect Taufik Popola is a managing partner CEO.
Artec full meaning is Architectural and Environmental Design Consultants. It was registered in 2009. Although myself and my colleagues have been practicing under a different name since 1995, the journey of Artec actually started as far back as 1986. In 2010, we got registered with the Architecture Association Council of Nigeria. In 2012, we got registered with Association of Consulting Architects Nigeria, ICANN. And in order to improve our process, we got registered with ISO, International Organization for Standardization, 9001-2008. That was in 2016. And then we went a step further in 2018 to get certified to ISO 9001-2015, all in a bid to improve our process, our structure, and project delivery to our clients. Many things. The first one is I was fascinated with the practice of architecture as far back when I was in the undergraduate school of architecture. I had the opportunity to work in a practicing firm that designed most of the buildings within the campus at that time, and that exposed me to how a proper office is run and what the rudiment of architecture was as far back as then. Secondly, since my graduation, I've worked with about 3 firms. I even rose to principal partner level in the last firm. And during that period, I had a stint with a firm in South Africa, and I had contact with a large firm in the US. Thirdly, I've always studied and been fascinated with the work of some of the pioneer architects in Nigeria, like M.O. Nafo is the first architect in Nigeria. I think graduated in 1960, thereabout. Adeyemi Adeyemi, McGregor, Fema Jekodumi, and one of my mentors, Roberto. That's him there. I worked with him for about 15 years. And the quality of their work, the way they have run their practices, and it's something that I've been encouraging all the while. So the major thing that your question that inspired the practice is to have a Nigerian practice of international repute that will contribute to the quality of the built environment, and something that we build to last. Because our experience shows that most firms in Nigeria don't outlive their founders. Meanwhile, some practices that were established by foreigners as far back as independent are still existing today. So the idea was, how can we institutionalize the practice? How can we have a structure that will outlive all of us? That's the journey, and so far we're happy with what we have achieved, and we hope to go the whole hog.
Artec Practice Limited is a firm of professional architects and project managers that have worked together for 3 decades and have a track record of many completed projects built with a deep respect for the client's budget, time, and quality standard. The company is highly equipped with young dynamic management and technical team with years of corporate and field experience to undertake and execute any given task in its field of endeavors.
To us, architecture is about space, it's about form, it's about light, it's about the society, it's about things that are tangible and intangible. A typical Artec building has this sensuous quality that you feel it with all your senses, the sense of hearing, the sense of smell, the sense of, and few of the ones that we have done, let me mention just the Shell Estate in Abuja. It's in Maitama. It's about 50 housing units. It's quite very good. People have made positive comment about it. In fact, we did it some years back, but the commission was to do additional ones, and was completed in 2016. The initial one was 50. We had additional 28. So all in all, they have about 78 units there. It's been quite a challenging and interesting project. We also did the Federal Judicial Service Commission in Lagos, in Lekki Phase 1. It's an iconic building. It's standing there, nicely done, and we had the opportunity to do the head office and another exam center for the same Federal Judiciary in Abuja here, which is under construction. The head office has been completed, they occupied. The exam center is under construction. We also did the project management for Stanbic IBTC head office in Lagos. That was it was quite challenging as well, and we did their branch, design and supervision of IBT Stanbic branch in Lafia, that's the National State. We've worked for MTN. We did their Friendship Center in Kano and Kaduna. We did some switch for them here in Abuja. Then we did branches for GT Bank in Kano, in Kaduna, in Makudi. Those are some of the ones we have done around here. We just completed an international conference center in Asokoro, which is of international standard and quite an interesting project. The client has had positive comment to make on the project, and it has brought in some other projects for us in the office.
Over the years, indigenous contractors in Nigeria have recorded a low level of participation and have often been sidelined in large-scale construction activities. The question now asked is, does government lack confidence on indigenous companies in the construction industry?
To some extent, I think it is proper. When you look at, government is a major player in the construction industry, and about 80% of our investment in infrastructure, education, roads, bridges comes from government. And most of these facilities, these projects are awarded to foreign companies. The problem is that some of our indigenous contractors don't have the capacity to undertake some of these projects. So I think that is why it looks skewed. Look, in our office, we've had opportunity to work with indigenous construction companies and foreign construction companies. And from my personal view, most of our indigenous construction companies don't seem to have that commitment, you know, that structure and that internal control mechanism to achieve successful projects. With due respect, I'm not saying all of them. So with that kind of situation, when you compare, when you do the same thing with foreign firms and you see the quality of what they bring and what the quality of what our people bring, if you have another project, we better prefer to go to the other company. Look, we had a project that we did with one of the foreign firms, I won't mention the name, about 8 kilometers of road. Our engineers inspected, and we found out that the quality wasn't up to what was specified. And they call in their own engineers. They have an independent quality control system within their establishment. The engineers came, they concur with what we saw, and they stripped everything and relayed. When you are working with them, when a tile is not properly laid or something is wrong with the wall, before you come the next day, they have corrected it because they have seen it. Most of our people will say, I think it's okay, you know, to remove, it will be it. So sometimes, I don't know. And sorry to cut you short, I think we need to try to work together. Our indigenous construction company needs to work together. They should come big. There should be synergy. So when we operate on small scale, you cannot expect to get bigger job. I know they have challenges, equipment, they don't have financial, this, but when you come together and form bigger companies, you'll be able to meet some of these challenges. But the commitment, internal control system, structure should be there. You see most of these companies have been in Nigeria since 1960, some of them 1970, some of them 1980. Which indigenous construction company have been in the system for as long as that? When the man that has the place dies, other people do their own thing, or the quality is watered down, and so on and so forth. When a job is advertised, the requirement will be stated there. Once you're able to meet that requirement, then you can compete for that job. The question is that human capital resources, you understand, not only skilled manpower. Most of our people are skilled, you understand, but they still need these guys to supervise them. Because when you work with them on site, I'm talking from experience, they take a lot of things for granted. And these guys come and say, look, this is how this thing should be. Once all those things are in place and we're able to run a proper organization with a structure, not because you're my brother or you're my friend or you're my son or you're my daughter, then we'll be able to compete properly. There's nothing bad in bringing your relatives into this kind of thing. But are they qualified? Are they committed? Will they be able to deliver? Those are the things that are vital. Most of those things are usually lacking with due respect in some of our people. No, I disagree completely. We don't like project management. What we lack is project planning. Project planning is the idea that I want to do X project. How much is it going to cost me? Where is it going to be? Who are the people that I'm going to need? How long will it take? We don't do such things. And you know the axiom that this axiom that says who fails to plan plans to fail. That's our problem. Project management, we have fantastic project managers in Nigeria. Some of people go abroad to study this, they have the skills, but they are not being utilized. The ideal thing will have been to incorporate that every project must have a project manager, a qualified project manager. It's not lacking at all. It's just that we are not utilizing them. I know quite a number of project managers that went to school in Reading, in England, fantastic guys. They are not being utilized. So the skill is not lacking. It is the involvement that is not there. It's not as if we lack project management skill. The problem with building collapse, I will explain some of the major problems that leads to that. Number one, most of these guys don't employ qualified professionals. Most of them don't employ qualified contractors. Building permission, statutory building approval, they circumvent it. In cases where they got that, they don't respect it. We've had an instance where we had a building, it's a 5-floor building. We're going to get, it was at the 4th floor stage. The client came in and saw the structure and he was happy. And he said, with the location and all that, can't I have 2 floors to this building? And we said no. My structural engineer said no. You should have told me from day one, so I designed the foundation to carry it. So we refused. Some other people, because of what they want to collect, they will agree with the client, they will go ahead and do it. The foundation, so you have that problem of collapsing. And then there is no penalty for people that goes against it. I don't know in this country, I mean, I've been jailed because they're involved in collapse structures. So all and some of these things, and then compromise. Some of these statutory guys, with due respect, when they go to go and inspect this thing, they see what is wrong. Instead of them to sanction the people, they get facilitated and they let them to go. So all these things put together is what leads to. It's very sad. It doesn't happen in other clients because you cannot put up a building without going through the professionals. It's not a joke. Putting on a building takes so much time, so much money, involves so much people that it can be ephemeral, that it can be short-lived. It's something that involves so much. I think there's no conflict of interest at all. The duties and responsibility of all the professionals in the building industry is clear. The project manager has his own responsibility, The architect has his own responsibility. The engineers, which is made up of infrastructure, structural, civil, electrical, mechanical services, they have their own responsibility. The quantity surveyor has their own responsibility. All of us work together. It's like an ingredient to a soup. You know, if the Maggi is not enough or the salt, the soup cannot be. So everybody has something that bring you on the table. The roles and responsibilities are clear. And it's important to work as a team. Once everybody works as a team, because it's, a project is a temporary assemblage of individuals together for the success after you disband. So once it's in everybody's mind that you need to work together to achieve the success of that project, there should be no contest at all. The project manager usually is the leader of the team. The architect conceives the design. The engineer, structural, electrical, they have input. So if the project manager knows his work and all the other consultants know, there shouldn't be any conflict. The important thing is to work together as a team for the success of the project. So in the construction industry, the architect can be the project manager, the quantity surveyor can be, the engineer can be, as long as the duties and responsibilities are clear and everybody knows what to do. It's not a conflicting responsibility at all. Rules are supposed to be respected. That's all. We have an act that says XYZ. Everybody, including government, should respect that. Then it will be easier for all of us. So if you have an act and people are not respecting it or is not being undertaken, that is where this kind of things happens. It is important that everybody, the rule has been set and everybody has to key into that rule. It can be better. It can definitely be better. Although you look at it from the other side of you and say, this is a fantastic opportunity in this area as well. It's unfortunate that part of the problem, which is inadequate power supply, is affecting us so much. Industries, SMEs, and all those other small scale, they cannot function properly. In fact, I'm sure you're aware that most industries have moved the head office out of Nigeria. It's so bad. The same thing with that's power. The same thing with other infrastructures like road. People they have their finished product in the farm to bring it to the where it will sell. It's going to take a long time. Infrastructure it's quite but it can be better, like I said. But it's not saying much. Look at our airports. Even the facilities we have there, they are not the type we should have as a country after 58 years. You go to Ghana, you see their airport, look at our own. So it's quite, well, it could be better. That's a difficult question. Look, it's an interesting question at the same time. Government cannot build for everybody. And the earlier we get our house together, the better. There are a lot of things that I think government needs to do, and then the financial institutions have to do, and then the corporate organizations too have to do. The first thing is government has to do something about the land use decree. The cost of land is very expensive. So if you are going to build and you are going to buy land for X amount, you have to be able to afford the cost of land is itself enormous. And then taxes. Okay, so those are some of the things that we need to address at the first step. Then two, most of the developers are usually not interested in doing these low-cost houses because of cost of fund. Most of the time they go to the banks to go and collect money to sponsor this project. But the amount that they pay back, by the time they finish the building, most of our people cannot afford it. So the other thing is that if in previous, I think we still have the raw material research institute and all that. We need to look at the local materials. That will bring down the cost of construction. If the cost of construction is low, a lot of people will be able to afford it. They should not wait for paid employment. entrepreneurship, skill. Everybody cannot work for government. That's the simple this thing. They should learn a skill that will be useful to the society. Look, everybody needs something every day. You have to think, what will I do that will contribute, that people will need? Once you're able to identify one, it's not going to be easy. But with time, we're going to supervise. And then the advice again is to government. We need to restructure the educational system. It's a cake. It starts to be more technically oriented, not administrative. I understand they have a fantastic program in Germany, where when you're out of school, you can go and work in a hands-on, and then you can now go back to school and all that. Or while you are there, you can. Such things will help us a lot. But our education system is still the same pedagogic. You cram, you pour down, you get out of school, they ask you, you are forgotten, it's not relevant, and it's not what we need. Well, my name is Taufik Pokwara. I'm an architect. I like quiet times, study times. Practice of architecture is something that has interested me from day one, and it's something that has been very rewarding to me. I'm an optimist. I don't think you can practice architecture, be an architect without being an optimist. You can see that little boy. Whatever situation is now, it can always be better. The purpose of architecture is to provide shelter for human beings where people can live, can work and enjoy, and it is to that end that I've dedicated my career.
Well, this is your time with permission. We must say a very big thank you, sir, for making our time to be with us. Out of your busy schedule, we really appreciate your contribution on the program. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.